13-year-old Becky Hooper sits across from police investigators, recounting a recent incident at her home. She vaguely remembers spotting a man dressed in camouflage clothing but offers no further details. The narrative rewinds 2 weeks earlier, revealing a brutal attack in prison, where inmates, under the command of Dominic, who is a notorious neo-Nazi leader, savagely beat an inmate to death. Following the murder, Dominic and his accomplices, Apex, Cole, and Hammond, are relocated to another prison. During the transfer, they escape by staging a medical emergency, distracting the guards, and killing them. Meanwhile, Jeff, Becky's father, picks her up from school and drives her to their lake house for the weekend. On the way, they pause at a gas station, where Becky notices a mother with her child. The sight triggers painful memories of her own mother, who recently lost her battle with cancer. Jeff, who was largely absent during his wife's illness, hopes the weekend will help rebuild his relationship with Becky. Becky is blindsided upon arriving at the lake house, where she discovers Jeff's fiancée, Kayla, and her young son, Ty, are also there. Annoyed, Becky behaves coldly during an awkward dinner. When Jeff reveals his plans to marry Kayla, Becky storms off in anger. Dominic and his crew, disguised as correctional officers, pull over a vehicle and murder the driver and the 2 children. Apex, racked with guilt, remains silent. Still fuming, Becky retreats to her playhouse in the forest, accompanied by her dog, Diego. In a moment of rage, she trashes her belongings, stumbling upon a strange key with a peculiar symbol. She sets the key aside and gazes at an old family photograph when the family was whole. Back at the house, Dominic arrives, pretending to search for his missing dog. Unaware of his true identity, Kayla lets him inside. Jeff returns shortly after and immediately grows suspicious. When Dominic refuses to leave, his crew attacks. Jeff instructs Kayla and Ty to hide, but Apex, wrestling with inner conflict due to killing the 2 children, finds them and deliberately lets them go. Despite his hesitation, Cole and Hammond recapture them. From her playhouse, Becky watches in horror as one of the convicts kills one of their dogs. Paralyzed with fear, she remains hidden. Inside the cabin, Dominic interrogates Jeff about the key, but Jeff knows nothing about it. Becky sneaks back to her room, hoping to retrieve her phone, but manages only to grab a walkie-talkie. Growing impatient, Dominic shoots Kayla in the leg, demanding answers. When Becky's walkie-talkie accidentally buzzes, Dominic realizes she's nearby. Becky claims to have contacted the police, though Dominic dismisses the bluff since he still has her phone. To force her out of hiding, Dominic tortures Jeff with a hot skewer. Desperate, Becky admits she knows about the key, but when Jeff urges her to flee, she obeys, leaving him behind. Dominic executes Jeff in front of her, insisting on the key's location, but Becky retaliates, stabbing him in the eye with it before escaping to her playhouse. Wounded, Dominic sends Cole to track Becky. As Dominic's eye is hanging, he has the other man cut it off. Cole locates her Becky, but Becky has a trap prepared. Using a ruler, she fashions a makeshift weapon and lures Cole into her zip line, stabbing several times and killing him and leaving his corpse near the playhouse. Meanwhile, Apex tends to Kayla's injury inside the house. Kayla senses his guilt and pleads with him to spare them, recognizing that he's different from the others. Dominic, however, confronts Apex about his wavering loyalty, reminding him of their mission. Motivated and angry, Becky sends a taunting message through the walkie-talkie, reciting a cryptic poem aimed at the convicts. Hammond eventually stumbles upon Becky and pursues her to the dock by the lake, unaware she's set another trap. He steps onto a plank of nails, falls in the lake, and Becky finishes him off with the boat's motor. Shortly after, Apex confronts Becky but, haunted by memories of the children he killed earlier, spares her life. He urges her to escape, saying she still has a chance at a normal life. Declaring his refusal to follow Dominic any longer, Apex walks away. As night descends, Becky discovers her father's lifeless body and tearfully asks him to send her love to her mother. She retrieves the car keys from his pocket and returns to the house. Inside, Kayla and Ty spot her approaching, but Dominic reappears, threatening them. To buy time, Kayla distracts Dominic, questioning why he murdered Jeff over a key. Dominic remains vague, insisting the key holds the power to change the world. Just as he's about to harm Ty, a car alarm goes off outside. When Dominic investigates, Becky drives toward him. Though the impact is minimal, it triggers the car's automatic 911 alert. Seizing the opportunity, Kayla frees herself and Ty while Becky draws Dominic into the forest. Their chase leads to the fire pit, where Becky douses Dominic with gasoline from a water gun and sets him ablaze. Despite his injuries, Dominic continues his pursuit until Apex intervenes. Dominic begs Apex to let him kill Becky, but the two men engage in a violent struggle. As a lawnmower draws near, Becky shoves Dominic into its path, decapitating him. She then turns the gun on Apex, ending his life as well. Kayla and Ty emerge from the house, concerned for Becky's well-being. In the final moments, Becky sits in the police interrogation room once more. When questioned, she maintains that all she saw was a man in camouflage clothing. Yet, as the scene closes, Becky offers a sly smile.